The ground beneath the White House shaken today as special counsel Robert Mueller announced charges against 3 individuals closely connected to President Donald Trump. Former Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort and close campaign advisor Richard Gates indicted on multiple counts, and former Trump foreign policy advisor George Papadopoulos pleading guilty to lying to the FBI. Gates and Manafort have pled not guilty to all charges.
He was seeking to further democracy and to help the Ukraine come closer to the United States and the EU.
The announcement comes just months into Mueller's investigation into possible collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia.
The White House was entirely blindsided by this news. There was no formal notification, I am told, coming from the special counsel's office to the president, to the White House counsel, that this indictment was coming.
The White House today resolute. The president tweeting, "There is no collusion."
Today's announcement has nothing to do with the president, has nothing to do with the president's campaign or campaign activity.
And White House spokesperson Sarah Sanders even flipping the script.
There's clear evidence of the Clinton campaign colluding with Russian intelligence to spread disinformation and smear the president to influence the election.
Earlier this year, the U.S. intelligence community asserted that Russia interfered in the 2016 presidential election in favor of Donald Trump. In March, the FBI confirmed it was investigating whether Team Trump and the Russians worked together.
What we're talking about here is a hostile foreign power, the Kremlin, trying to disrupt our democracy. The fact that we now have evidence that that influence was solicited by a campaign is very serious.
None of the charges against Manafort or Gates announced today show evidence of collusion with Russia. But the plea deal with 30-year-old George Papadopoulos could be the most problematic development for the president. Seen here in this photo, he literally had a seat at the table during the campaign.
There's every reason to believe that he is now cooperating with the investigators and giving them information readily that they would not have had as easily.
Papadopoulos was arrested in late July for lying to the FBI about his contacts with people allegedly linked to the Kremlin. One of them telling Papadopoulos in April of 2016 the Russians had dirt on Hillary Clinton in the form of thousands of emails. The next day, Donald Trump gave his first foreign policy speech with an emphasis on Russia.
I believe an easing of tensions and improved relations with Russia from a position of strength only is possible, absolutely possible.
About a month later, Papadopoulos emailed a high-ranking Trump campaign official saying, "Russia has been eager to meet Mr. Trump for quite some time and have been reaching out to me to discuss." In response, the campaign official forwarded Papadopoulos' email to another Trump campaign official saying, in part, "We need someone to communicate that DT is not doing these trips. It should be someone low level in the campaign so as not to send any signal."
When you actually read the statement of facts, it says that he had contacts with high-level campaign officials. It doesn't say who they were, but it makes clear that there were contacts, and at one point, one of them even suggests that he go to Russia.
Today, the White House insisted Papadopoulos played an insignificant role.
But the George Papadopoulos agreement is about the campaign. It is specifically about the campaign.
It has nothing to do with the activities of the campaign. It has to do with his failure to tell the truth. That doesn't have anything to do with the campaign or the campaign's activities.
It may be true that he's low level, but that's irrelevant if he's contacting high-level people, they're engaging with him, and at one point even suggesting something he should do.
Trump and the White House have also sought to distance themselves from one-time campaign manager Paul Manafort.
But Paul Manafort, who's a good man also, by the way, Paul Manafort was replaced long before the election took place. He was only there for a short period of time.
Even going to great rhetorical lengths at times to downplay Manafort's role in the campaign.
Obviously, there's been this discussion of Paul Manafort, who played a very limited role for a very limited amount of time. But beyond,
he was the chairman of the campaign.
Jonathan, hold on. Can you stop interrupting other people's questions?
Paul Manafort didn't play a limited role.
Jonathan, somebody's asking a question. It's not your press briefing.
Trump hired Manafort in March of 2016 to help secure the Republican presidential nomination, a job Manafort offered to do for free.
Clearly, he didn't need the money. We've now discovered he had millions and millions of dollars coming in, according to the indictment. He wanted to be in the middle of things, and he certainly was for a while.
Manafort was Trump's only non-family member to attend the now infamous June 2016 meeting with a Russian lawyer who claimed to have compromising information about Hillary Clinton.
Mr. Manafort, thanks for joining us.
A month after that meeting, Manafort denied to ABC News any connection between Russia and the campaign.
Are there any ties between Mr. Trump, you, or your campaign, and Putin and his regime?
No, there are not. It's absurd, and there's no basis to it.
But in August 2016, after reports of cash payments to Manafort for his lobbying on behalf of a pro-Russian political party in Ukraine, Manafort left the Trump campaign. And in fact, it was those payments that helped lead to today's indictments. The 12 charges include lying to the Department of Justice, tax evasion, and laundering more than $18 million.
It's a significant set of indictments, and I think that it's a massive distraction for everyone in the Trump administration. It makes it really hard for them to just do their day jobs. And it also really undermines and erodes the feeling of authority that they have, both over their country domestically and also around the world.
As for Manafort's deputy, Richard Gates, he remained on as a prominent Trump campaign advisor all the way through the transition and inauguration. He now faces charges similar to Manafort, his longtime business partner.
These were not, considered the kind of people that you and I would be naturally doing business with. Manafort, you're talking about someone who was known as operating in very high-level circles close to the Kremlin, some of whom were overtly sketchy.
Also caught in the fallout today, Tony Podesta, brother of Clinton campaign manager John Podesta, resigning from his own company amidst the special counsel's investigation into his work for a Ukrainian group tied to Manafort. Manafort and Gates are both under house arrest tonight with multi-million-dollar bonds, while George Papadopoulos has surrendered his passport. Meanwhile, the 3 congressional investigations into possible collusion between Team Trump and Russia continue, as does special counsel Robert Mueller's work, at least for now.
There's no intention or plan to make any changes in regards to special counsel.
If I'm an average American and I'm just watching today's developments, why does it matter for me at all?
Because it makes the U.S. government appear like a dysfunctional joke.
It's clear that when it comes to the Russia investigation, this is the beginning, not the end.